Today's episode of Stones Over Bones highlights the carved inscriptions found in Harvard Yard. And if you enjoy content like this, please consider donating to my Patreon channel. Okay, so the university was founded in 1636 to train Christian ministers for the New World, so I think it's appropriate to begin this walking tour at Memorial Church. If you climb those steps and look upwards, you'll see a glistening white marble slab explaining how the church was built to honor those Harvard men who died in World War I. To the right of the columns, you'll find a similar plaque hiding above some bushes. Its large, crisp letterforms announce the entrance to the Appleton Chapel. To the left of the church, you'll come across a tiny plaque beneath a stone projecting from the bricks. The inscription describes how this fragment was taken from the church where John Harvard was baptized in 1607. There are some wonderful letter forms throughout. Note the ST ligature. J is used for the numeral 1. Notice how low the bowl of the A feels. I love that right triangle formed on the ascender of the T, as well as that little upward tick on the cross-stroke of the F. Around the corner, you'll also find an enormous bell, and at first glance, the plaque looks as if it was hand-carved, but closer inspection will instantly reveal it was cut by a machine. What a missed opportunity. I mean, just compare how sterile sandblasted stenciled letters feel when compared to the same letters drawn and cut by hand. If the doors happen to be open, definitely go inside because there are some beautiful plaques and inscriptions on the walls. Towards the back of Memorial Church, you'll find two charming inscriptions mounted on the BRADSTREET gate. The left one marks the year women students moved into Harvard Yard. The right side is a quote by Anne Bradstreet, considered to be the first poet in the colonies. The letters are gilded with gold leaf. That 2 is wonderfully elongated at the bottom. The T has a very elegant swirl. The arms of the R's seem to flutter in a breeze. Look at this beautiful A. Based on these splendid letter forms, it seems that this stonecutter also carved the plaque hanging on MEYER's gate. The inscription is a passage from the journal of Harvard alum Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it's probably one of my favorite in all of Harvard Yard. The letter forms are painted a rusty red and works perfectly with that light gray slate with diagonal veins of iron. I love that squiggled neck of the G and how the S's and ghosts seem to disappear. The tittle of the I's are like daggers. The E has a groovy curve, and the ampersand is unlike any I've seen before. Look at how tall he makes those stems, and how the double L's are stepped into one another. The old-style numerals are just as dashing as the decorative swashes of the capital A, J, I, and R. Now let's go to Robinson Hall, which originally housed Harvard's architecture department, indicated by the plaque high above the main entrance, as well as all the names of classical architects that wrap around the entire building. The stone above the main entrance memorializes Nelson Robinson Jr., whose parents provided funds for construction of the building. To the left and right, you'll find a treasure of relief sculptures and inscriptions. The massive brick structure beside Robinson Hall is known as SEVER Hall. The terracotta ornaments are really amazing to look at, and I love how quirky the inscription is. Note that little bump on the horizontal stroke of the H, the pinwheel to the left, and triangles to the right. The philosophy department to the right of SEVER Hall seems so formal in comparison, but I love the tilt of the O's. WIDENER Library has over 3.5 million books, including a copy of the Gutenberg Bible. Above its proud columns is this long inscription with widely spaced letters and Roman numerals. Perhaps my second favorite plaque in Harvard Yard hangs on Matthews Hall. It's dedicated to the Indian college that once stood near this spot. The surface of the slate is rough, but a Native American symbol has a honed finish. I mean, look at how many letters are on this. Not one mistake. Really impressive work. A bit formal, but really impressive, especially since the letters are so small. Now we're going to head briefly to Grace Hall, which, if you look all the way to the top of the building, has these two blocky, big granite date stones with raised letters. Now we're going to look at some of the gates that run along Mass Ave. The first is going to be Bacon Gate, which is always covered in ivy. If you look straight through the metal bars, you'll see an inscription from the class of 1880. Plaques can also be seen on either side. The one on the left has an adorable little date stone that is unfortunately crumbling away. Dexter Gate is one of my favorites because the inscriptions offer some advice to students passing beneath. On the front, enter to grow in wisdom, and on the back, depart to serve better thy country and thy kind. Morgan Gate is a little bit of a mystery to me, and if anyone has any information about this, please leave it in the comments below. If you look towards the right, you'll see this odd stone that looks like it was meant to have an inscription, but is completely blank except for a few graffitied initials. The class of 1889 erected a very simple gate. At the top, we see Harvard's classic shield and Latin motto, Veritas, which means truth. And then we have this beautiful keystone with the raised year surrounded by laurel. The Joseph McKean Gate is really impressive. The entrance has the Harvard shield and a keystone boar's head. To the left, we see that the gate is erected to the memory of Joseph McKean and looks to be cut in limestone. To the right is another stone dedicated to McKean, this time more biographical in nature. I love how it's recessed into the brick. See that boom, boom, boom. Now, if you walk through the gates and turn to your right, you'll come across the Edward Wigglesworth plaque, which may look like slate, but I don't know, if you look at the right-hand corner, you'll see that the sculptor's name looks to be scrawled into clay, so maybe this is like a cast or something. Nevertheless, it's a beautiful relief. It's a wonderful house up top and some interesting letter forms throughout. The class of 1857 erected a very dignified gate with a beautiful date in that oval keystone. Then we have some Latin inscriptions on the left as well as the right. I love how long the tail of the Q is. But my favorite is the vertical slate piece to the left. I have a feeling whoever cut this also did the BRADSTREET and Emerson plaques. Look at this beautiful intersection of V-cuts. I love how the serifs dagger down, and look at the E and the A, how they curl. I love the hook in that 3. And look at these curly Q's of the L's in college, and how the P loops into the D. It's just really fun to stand in front of this and take in each letter. So well done. The class of 1875 has a very formal inscription for those entering. And for those exiting, you have the class year up top, as well as the year the gate was built, with some Roman numerals below. Further down the street, you'll come to the 1873 inscription, which is absolutely wonderful. I love that circular stone above and how the leaves dangle down the borders. It's just really, really simple. Just the year, and when it's that beautifully cut, that's all you need. The class of 1870 left behind 2 beautiful little plaques that looks to be in limestone. The one on the right was given by the class of 1870 in the year 1901, and the one on the left was given to the college by the class of 1870 in what I assume is 1870. They are nearly identical. Both are very precisely cut. And last but not least, we arrive at the Robert Bradley Jr. Memorial. It looks like the letters at the base of the granite were originally filled in with bronze. Curving around the inside, we have some beautiful inscriptions, as well as some letter forms up top. So that about ends this walking tour. If you happen to be in the area, all of the inscriptions we just looked at are marked on this little map of Harvard Yard. Let me know if you have a favorite inscription in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.